guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm currently sitting out on my front porch because inside is quite noisy. Kind of still in quarantine where I have a house full of people and so with my husband on the phone and the kids watching TV and stuff, it's really noisy. So I'm hoping that it's not too noisy out here. There is a little bit of a breeze, but I hope you guys can hear me okay. I want to make this video today because it's something that I've been very curious about over the years, and I finally went ahead and did my Ancestry DNA test and I got the results back, and some of the things I was a little bit shocked about, others not so much. So before I get into what my actual results were, I want to talk about some other things, give you a little bit of my history of what I do know, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so if you know me or if you've been following my channel for a while, or even just from watching this video, you notice that I have an accent. My accent is actually from Australia.
Do you come from a land down under?
I was born and raised in Australia, which makes my nationality obviously Australian. However, my ethnicity is South American. Both my parents are from Uruguay in South America, which is a small little country below Brazil and next to Argentina. And my mom was actually 7 months pregnant with me when they moved to Australia. So I always say that I am made in Uruguay, but born in Australia. Growing up, I was told that I looked Mediterranean, I looked Middle Eastern. Of course, I was told I looked South American or Latino, Hispanic. So growing up, I always was like, well, you know, where do my looks come from? I know that I'm born in Australia. My parents are from South America, but you know, I look all these different things, and so that's all. I've always been really curious about what my background, my heritage is. I wanted to just kind of explain a few things as well, because one thing that my husband, for example, always tells people that I'm Spanish. Actually, I'm not. Spanish is very specifically people from Spain, not necessarily people who speak Spanish. The cultural group of people who speak Spanish are actually called Hispanic. Latino refers to the cultural group of the people who are in Latin America. So Latin America consists of South America, Central America, and parts of the Caribbean. You can be Latino and not actually speak Spanish. So that's the difference between Hispanic, Latino, and Spanish. So Spanish people are specifically from Spain. Hispanic people are specifically people who come from countries whose native language is Spanish. And then Latinos are specifically from the Latin American region. They can be interconnected, but not interchangeable. So I am Hispanic and Latina, and also Australian. So I hope that clears that up. So like I said, my parents, my grandparents, my whole entire family is from a country called Uruguay. Like I said, Uruguay is a tiny little country below Brazil and next to Argentina. A few things that I know about my grandparents is that I do believe that my grandmother on my mother's side grew up very close to Brazil. There may be some Brazilian in my heritage, and my grandmother on my father's side was actually born in Spain. So I anticipate that I'll have a high percentage of maybe Portuguese and Spanish. Having said that, my last name, my maiden name, is Malaquin, and Malaquin, from the research that my dad has done and I've done a little bit as well, we have come to find out that Malaquin is actually a French name. So there'll probably be some French in my heritage as well. I'm not sure how we ended up with a French last name. My paternal grandfather, I'll show you a picture of him, but his features look very native, very indigenous, I think. And so I do anticipate having some indigenous heritage and quite a bit of European. I think that my maternal grandfather might have some Italian in his line, so there might be some of that too. But anyway, I do have my results sitting here in front of me, and so I'm going to reveal what my ethnicity is. So here we go. My top result with 43% is Portugal. Now, like I said, that's not a big surprise. Although I would have thought that Spanish was going to be my highest percentage. Spanish actually is way down the list in the single digit percentages, which was really, really surprising to me, being from a Spanish speaking country. Next biggest group or ethnicity estimate is Indigenous Eastern South American. That's a mouthful. That's 17%. So like I said, I kind of knew that I did have some indigenous ancestry. I don't know exactly what tribe or anything I'm from, but I did know, just looking at my grandfather, I could tell that I had some indigenous heritage. And so the Eastern South America region, I guess it includes the Amazon rainforest to the north, the tropical wetlands of Paraguay and Bolivia to the west, the Pampas of Uruguay and Argentina to the south, and of course all the way to the South American coast. So it's quite a large area. And then my third highest with 15% is French. Again, no surprise there. Like I said, my last name is French. I have no idea how we ended up with a French last name. Those are my top three. Those are the double digit percentages that I got. So Portugal was 43%, Indigenous Eastern South America is 17%, and French is 15%. The rest of them are all single digits. I got some African, some Spanish, some British, Italian, Ireland and Scotland, Malta, some more indigenous Americas, and some Northern African. That's only 1%. That is my actual ethnicity. That's pretty much where I come from, my background. So I can honestly say that I'm probably from a little bit all over the world. A little bit from Africa, a little bit European, some Northwestern European, and quite a bit of South American, which is no surprise since that's where my family is from. I was raised very immersed in the Hispanic culture because, like I said, my parents migrated to Australia while my mum was still pregnant with me. So growing up, I know that I spoke Spanish before I spoke English because my parents were very new immigrants in Australia and barely spoke any English themselves. So at home we only spoke Spanish for a long time until my parents learned to speak English. And even then, and even still today, I say that I am fluent in 3 languages: English, Spanish, and Spanglish. Spanglish is, if you've never heard that term, Spanglish is a mixture of English and Spanish. So when I'm talking to my family, if I can't think of a word in English, I'll just say it in Spanish. And if I can't think of a word in Spanish, I'll just say it in English. And it just really just flows off the tongue in a very fluid sentence. I don't really have to think about it. It just kind of comes out like that. And it's very understandable to us, to the, and I'm sure anybody who is of Hispanic heritage can relate. That is very much a legit language for us. But I love being Latina. I love, people say that, I have heard people say that I look or am exotic. Some people find that offensive. I don't. I think it's a compliment. I think being exotic makes you unique and it makes you different. And I love that. I love being different. I love being unique. And so I am quite happy to be described as exotic. I love the fact that I am bilingual. It's definitely an advantage in this day and age, and especially in this country, in the United States. It's definitely an advantage being bilingual. And the fact that I speak English and Spanish is even further up on that scale. So I hope that clarifies some things for you if you were wondering. And if you weren't asking those questions, that's okay too. Now you know the answers. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, give it a thumbs up. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel for future videos. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.